Hey, it's a beautiful day here in the tech capital of the world, Kernersville, North Carolina. I'm Bobby Davis, the CEO and founder of Foundry, and I'm joined by Kevin. Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm great. We're back
All
after
right.
a holiday day.
I know.
So we had Labor
So
Day
I was
yesterday.
looking at the tweets in there, and Steven says it's hot in the UK. He says
I
it's
saw
hot, hot,
I saw
hot
that,
in the
and I
UK.
actually looked it up when he did that. It's like it's
That's
80.
what I wanted to know.
Hold on,
Like,
hold on,
how
hold on.
hot is
It's 83 is what it depends on where he is. 80 something, right?
it? 80.
So, but remember, there's very little AC there. Air
Yeah.
conditioning's not really a thing. It's more of a modern thing. It's
Oh,
becoming more of a
that's
thing.
true.
It's becoming
Yeah.
more of a thing, but traditionally, like, I grew up with no air conditioning, like, anywhere. By the time I'd left, there was no air conditioning pretty much anywhere. Even cars only started getting it.
Is that
Not
because the
really a common
temperature's
thing.
very mild most of the
Yeah,
time anyway?
temperatures have mostly been, mild. But you're seeing
Yeah.
more and more get it there now. It's kind of crazy. I told my
Yeah, I
parents
was
to,
gonna see
like,
if
get air conditioning
we
installed.
need to show Steve our hoodie. Maybe like it's hot and then it's hot in the UK, so maybe you should get one of our hoodies.
Yeah, it's probably not the right
Shameless
thing.
plug.
Maybe just go for a t-shirt.
Yeah, go
We
for
have
the
we
t-shirt.
have those too. Um,
Yeah,
okay, Steven's in Lancashire, so yeah. So I don't know what the temperature is today, Steven, but it's 80 something, right? It's which is pretty warm for there.
yeah.
Again, just throw a fan on, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a holiday. We're off yesterday, so we haven't
Yeah.
done we haven't really talked about anything. Bobby and I talked real quick this morning, but we haven't
Yeah.
really talked about anything. But we had a holiday. You pretty much worked through it. I noticed.
Well, yeah, I've been gone for 5 weeks, so like I slammed together some Photoshop stuff and was building some
Yeah.
stuff for the course. And in fact, we got an announcement on the course. We'll show that in a second here.
Yeah.
That's what I built.
Yeah. We are
Small.
adding a little something today. So yeah, there's that. Um, what else do
I
we
watched
have?
U.S. soccer tie Canada. I
Yeah,
don't
which
know if
is
it's.
it's not
I
good
don't,
for the US team. That really, I mean, no offense to Canadian football, but you're not exactly,
a powerhouse. So like,
it
and
wasn't
we're at
exactly the
home, so
best.
like we should have won. But
The
whatever.
US should do so much better. They always should. But I always think it's
Yeah,
funny when Alexi Lalas gets upset that the US team
yeah.
isn't doing very
Alexi,
well.
yeah, he's upset.
He's just
He's
he's
like moved to tears and like the U.S. should do better. Like we
yeah
never do better. So
yeah. I'm not a fan of that guy. I was a fan of him as a player. He was a good defender. He was a good player. But I do
yeah,
not like him as a commentator. He's the
he's
most
super critical.
he's very critical, but he's also very like he's very biased, obviously, towards
Yeah,
US stuff, US everything. But it's
right.
like I don't know. I just don't like him. I don't think he's. But that's just yeah. So yeah, I didn't see that game though, but I did see the England games. We play again
It
tomorrow,
was
I think, or today maybe.
it was
Maybe we play today
exciting. It
actually.
was both goals were in the second half, and they were scored almost back to back. The U.S. scored, and then Canada came right straight away back and scored pretty much. And
Interesting.
then
And it ended
after
1-1.
that, it was
That was it.
1-1, and Canada had no interest in winning.
Okay.
They just
Right. Exactly. They're like, we will take the point.
will take the point.
That's how it works sometimes. That's a win
Yeah,
for them. It really
yeah,
is. If you
exactly.
can get a draw, like
Yeah,
that's a win for them.
yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, we'll do usual questions today too. Throw them in chat. I do have a couple already here, and I see them, and we'll get to those. I'll get to them in the order that you guys put them in. If you want to super chat too, those will jump up the queue, and I'll make sure that we get to those as they come in. But otherwise, I will go through the list as they come in. You want to share what we added to the course today first, then?
Yeah, so I built something in Bootstrap 5, and we just added to the course. So if you're in the course, I built a carousel with Bootstrap 5 cards. So if you're trying to build a pricing page or something like that, this is a traditional pricing page. I made the graphics in Photoshop, so I made up this app
Yeah,
basically,
and it looks a little
but it's
like it.
just the front end. So obviously, free delivery with any pay plans probably not true.
Yeah,
But
forget the context of this. You're talking about raw about the design. This is one of those things where you've
yeah,
seen this a million times. You've seen
yeah,
this carousel with these things that automatically rotate through, and you can also click through them. Look, with
yeah,
automatic rotation as a header, and then you've seen these kind of three pricing plans, three tiers of
yeah,
pricing. Such a common
right,
design these days.
yeah.
So we thought
So, and
we'd
I
throw
think
one
you can
together.
use this for anything. Like if you're asked to build out a multi-tier app that has like 3 kind of service plans or a hosting site. These cards are great. Also, it can be used for non-traditional pricing plans too. It doesn't have to be a pricing plan. This could be features or pictures or whatever you want to
Yep.
do. And
Yep.
so I show you how to build it in about 40 minutes or so, pretty quick if you're in the course. But here's the special thing. We're going to release this course on YouTube tomorrow. I
Yeah.
think
This one
right?
little thing, right? Yeah. This little builder thing. Yeah. I think we're going to throw it up
Yeah.
probably tomorrow.
So if you know Bootstrap 5 and you've used VS Code before, we're going to release this part of the course for you so you can get it for free and just kind of see kind of what the self-paced course is about. Or, hey, if you're not even interested in a self-paced course, maybe you want to know how to build a carousel in Bootstrap and show you how easy it is.
Yep. It's a pretty common thing. Like I say, you've seen it a million times. Like, it's such a common thing. We were like, that's a really good thing to have people know how to build, because it's one thing you can show up with. Be like, wow, okay, that's impressive. The moving carousel and the thing, and how easy it is to build it with the cards, like with Bootstrap, it's pretty good.
And the thing that I'm like more and more moving towards as I use Bootstrap 5 a lot is there wasn't a single line of custom CSS in this app at all. I used all the classes inside of Bootstrap. There's no JavaScript to make it do the carousel part of it at all. And so when you look at like carousel plugins, there's probably better carousel plugins you can grab. But this one's pretty good. So like for most cases, this will work,
Yeah.
They do have a little fade option. So if you need something super fancy, maybe some other ones, but they're harder to implement and they're harder to do. So like, I think this is really good.
Yep.
All right, Stephen, thanks.
Hey, Stephen, thank you. Thank you.
For
We appreciate the super chat. You get the little Han Solo.
No question, but that's okay. You could have got a free question answered, Stephen.
Yeah, if you do throw one in there, I'll do it. He says it's 25 degrees there, by the way, which
that's Celsius, right?
Yeah. Let me just hold on. I'll do the quick conversion. Oh, it's 77. That's not so bad.
77.
Okay, hold on. You have to understand, Stephen. In North Carolina, like 77 is like fall time. It's like borderline.
That's
like
a nice day. That's a nice day right there, man.
77. I'm like, oh yeah, this is nice. I think we had yesterday. It was like 82 or something, and I was like, this is nice. I could actually like deal with this. It's not so bad.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're not Florida. We're not like, we're not Arizona. We're not crazy hot, but
no,
90s in summer is kind of the norm.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we're used to that here. But you're not used to. But we have air conditioning too. Again, don't forget. Like,
we do have air conditioning.
I've got mine like cranked on, 70 something up here, like where I am. Yeah. So, but it's like, I think it's, what is it outside? It's 80 outside right now. So
yeah, so you got to get that in the 60s. Here in the office.
yeah, exactly.
So I guess if it was 77 indoors, that would seem hot.
Yeah,
it would seem real hot.
Yeah, and it's probably warmer indoors because don't forget, you don't have the airflow through, so it might even be warmer than 77.
Yeah.
Imagine, and then trying to sleep in that's kind of crappy.
That did suck. Yeah.
So,
cool.
Yeah. But thank you for the super chat, Stephen. Okay, let's do some questions here.
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
What do we got?
I was looking down to see if there's any good ones. I'll let you pick them.
Yeah. We're talking with. Okay, so we didn't get a chance to read it yet, Sean, but we did get your email. I didn't get a chance to look through it yet, but Sean sent us the questions from his HackerRank quiz.
Yeah.
I looked over them really, really briefly. I didn't get a chance to actually look at them. I was like, oh, okay. And I read the first one. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay. So they're like logic questions. So we'll take a look at them. Maybe we'll come back and we'll take a look at them. Maybe we'll look at some of those. That'll be kind of interesting to look at.
I like the one about the abstract class. That was interesting.
Yeah. Yep. So Sean's in that process now. He's doing that quiz. Hopefully he can figure that out and he'll let us know. They can let him know and then he'll let us know. So yeah, I'm interested.
Hopefully he gets it, Sean. Good luck, man.
Yeah, good luck and keep us up to date.
It'd be awesome.
Yep. So Sabrina has a question. Thank you for the question. So they just had a question. What YouTube video would you recommend to build a debugger app? Thanks so much in advance. What's a debugger app? What would you consider a debugger app?
I think she's talking about the bug tracker, I believe.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Well, we don't have a specific YouTube video for that. We do have a course for it, so you can go here and do the course if you want to. Although it's not quite there yet, it is coming still. But you need to, there's a whole bunch of prerequisites you need to do before building the bug tracker anyway.
Yeah, it's really complicated. So.
But we do have the one coding project video, which you can find on YouTube.
Right.
Let me just get you the link, because there's that. You can watch that, and I'm assuming maybe you've already seen that. But it doesn't necessarily give you the how-to. It just tells you
exactly.
the things that you need to put in there. So let me.
The reason we don't have a how-to on YouTube is that our bug tracker, you're editing it now. It's like, it take forever. It's put it on YouTube. It's massively big.
It would be ridiculous on YouTube. It's not a YouTube video. It's not.
It's a course video. So
yeah, it's a course video. But other than that, I'm not sure there is one. Not that we're aware of, anyway. Let me see here. And you're welcome, Serena. Thank you. Thanks for the question. Here you go. Developer does from my end feels like 100 degrees every day. Yeah, we don't have. We don't have that Florida heat. Like 1,000 degrees every day. That's funny, and it does. I'll vouch for that. Been there.
It's Florida hot. It's pretty hot.
It is. Yeah. You say it's like Florida or the desert hot. Those are the two, aren't they? Yeah. Florida, that wet heat, and then the desert, the Arizona, horrible dry heat.
125.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What's Alexander saying here? Alexander says, "Hey, I work in the fintech industry. Awesome at the moment, but on the ops side, QA specialist. I want to transition to engineering, and we use C#.net. Will a bootcamp prep me for that?"
100%. Yeah, man. Like, just take our self-paced course or come to our bootcamp. We'll teach you .NET and C#. And then since you're already working there, you can find out who the person is that could hire you and try to make friends with them, take them to lunch, ask them their opinion on how to break in, all that kind of stuff, and then show up with a portfolio 12 weeks later and go, "Hey, I built this stuff in C#." I think that's how I'd approach it. QA side is great because you already know the systems and know kind of what they're trying to do, what the things they're building. So I think you have a good inside track to do that by showing them some C# projects. So yeah, a bootcamp absolutely will prep you for that. And if they won't hire you, someone else will for sure.
Right.
You can build all the projects that we do at Coder Foundry.
Especially if you have you have relevant experience too. It's like, it's still relevant, even though it's QA specialist stuff. It's still relevant. It's a smaller transition to go from that to develop
that dev manager right now. I take him to lunch, ask him his opinion on how to break in and that kind of stuff. And just see if he can help you. And then if you make friends with him, he's more than likely gonna at least give you a second look when you show him some projects built in C# and .NET.
Yeah, because not only do people hire people that can do the job, they hire people they like. So
they just
likes you. It's just an easier process.
So the next time he wants something extra special tested, go above and beyond and extra special test it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. Emmanuel has a question. I'm getting referred to a recruiter for an engineering role. Awesome. I'm graduating a bootcamp next month. Awesome. But I don't have any custom projects completed. What should I do? Did you not build anything in the bootcamp?
So do you not have, or you're just not done yet? Is that what it is? You need to get some custom projects built out. Unless you've got some other stuff on your resume, I think that'll help a lot by having things built out.
Yeah, the recruiter needs proof that you can code, and the best way to prove that is to have those artifacts to show that you can.
So what should you do? Get cracking, start building some stuff of what you've learned in the bootcamp, or build out the projects that they're showing you in the bootcamp. If they've just got samples, expand on those samples, get as much value as you can out of the bootcamp. You're getting ready to graduate next month, by building some things.
Okay.
So that helps, Emmanuel. Good luck, man. Hopefully that helps. And if you get turned down for that one, Emmanuel, that doesn't mean you should stop. Keep going.
Yeah. Yeah,
Interview as many times as you can. You may not get the first one, but continue to build projects, get that portfolio on point, show it around, and eventually you'll get hired. So even if
that,
this one doesn't work, it's not the last one,
that's
the
a good
last
point.
opportunity.
It's probably unlikely that you will get the first one, right? I
Yeah,
mean, just statistically, we
yeah,
see people, you have to apply for a lot of things to get one, but we always say you only need one yes. Chances of it being the first thing that you go for is kind of slim, and that's okay.
yeah,
You're right. Don't let that like dissuade you from continuing on. It's not a no to everything. It's just that it's a no to
yeah,
one thing. You just need
exactly.
one yes. That's all. And I like your little kitty cat in the picture there. He looks just like my cat, by the way.
All right.
So it's funny. Okay. Chitney, and I hope I got your name correctly there. I apologize if I didn't. But yesterday, randomly, I gave an online test for CSS just to know how good I am at CSS. And that test, he answered 60% of the questions, which made me feel sad as a front-end developer with 1 year of experience. But that goes to show you it doesn't matter. You're literally doing the job right
So
now
you're
for a
already paid,
year.
dude. Like it should make you feel sad.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. It means
Nah, man.
nothing. Yeah,
Plus, I mean, CSS is like those tests can be crazy
they
difficult
can
because of
because it depends how deep they go.
the nitpicky on like
Yeah,
the things they
yeah,
can do on the syntax. Whereas VS Code is going to tell you if that syntax is usually correct or not, or you can look it up and things like that.
right. Yep.
I wouldn't worry about that at all. So,
Yeah, I wouldn't either. It doesn't mean anything. You're already doing the work.
but now you know kind of like where you're at, and like you can go look up that other 40% and just see how you what you didn't know.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe it's an opportunity to pick up something new. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But you'll probably find though it's something that because you haven't, yeah, you literally haven't used it in the first year. You may never
Yeah,
use it. So it's like one of
yeah.
those abstract things that you don't even need to know. If you,
Yeah, I
you
read
know,
I was looking at an article today about CSS counting. I'm like, wow, I didn't know you could count in CSS. Like, what? Like,
what's the point?
I don't know. I mean, like they had a
I
good point, but like I didn't read all the way through it, so I would Google that if I ever had to do it again.
Yeah, I
So
often find some of those things they're very niche and very abstract, and it's like they never give you like just because you can do something doesn't mean that you'll ever find a reason
yeah,
for doing it.
right.
You know, it's crazy. Like we've said, just because you can create the Mona Lisa in CSS, right? But why would
I'm
you?
not going to do it. So
If you need to do that, like open up
and I'm not
Photoshop or
going to buy
something.
NFT at one either. So, but I'm a different cat. So yeah.
You're missing that NFT train.
I
That's
know
need
I
to
need to
get
get
on
on
that
it.
thing.
I got an email, someone that, this guy had, it was just like one of those phishing emails. And he said, I spent 25,000 on MFT today. It's worth over 3 million. You should get in this too. It's hot right
Awesome.
now. Click on this link. I'm like, bruh, I'm not
Yeah, yeah.
clicking on that link.
You're like, oh well, I've missed it. You're not
Yeah.
gonna. Oh well. That's funny.
I love
Yeah,
it.
I'm not in the NFT game yet. The only person I know that is Alex, and I don't know if he's made any money on his NFT yet. I
Yeah.
don't know. We need him to
But
come back and tell us in a year's time if he sold it.
I wonder if I can show my Movie Pro header in an NFT, just sell that thing.
I
It's
don't
got a lot
know.
of copyright
Surely there's
materials.
copyright stuff in it. Just, yeah, surely there's some copyright stuff in there. Maybe you should throw a really heavy filter on it so it abstracts it
Yeah.
enough, and then you get fair use,
See
and
the
now you can
article
use
now.
it.
Man sells NFT for 3 million. 42 lawsuits later, he's in the hole for 10.
Exactly. Through some terrible lawsuit. Joseph, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
man. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
And we will do your question right now. Let's see what we got. Joseph saying. Joseph
Yeah.
says, how do you feel about someone going from cloud DevOps to a developer? Joseph has a strong understanding of software development since I support it daily.
I feel like it's a good move. I mean,
Yeah.
but you got to ask the question: why do you want to go from cloud to DevOps? You not like DevOps? DevOps is a great career. It's becoming more and more important each day to developer teams, especially with so many people adopting these cloud platforms. That we've got to get our code into these platforms, and they want to do them in a CI/CD way. Constant integration with deployments. But if you want to move on to devs, I get it. You're going to have to show that you can code. So you're going to have to build some projects and show some people in your projects. I think the best way to move from DevOps to development is in the company you're working in, probably, if they have a dev team. And so, like we said, the last guy, make some friends on the dev team, understand what they're doing, what they're building, what the stack is, go learn that stack, and then show them some projects and try to like kind of work your way into doing that. Maybe you get to work on DevOps part-time and dev part-time or something like that, and eventually you can get pushed over to there. So that's what I would do. But in general, you got to have a project of something that you can show somebody that you know how to code.
Right.
But that DevOps background will help you a ton. I mean, a lot of dev teams are looking for that kind of skill set. And so then you add, obviously web development on top of that. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. So he also follows up with this: need to learn how to build apps rather than deploying and support. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's a big fan. That's cool. And yeah, here's his reason too. Look, there's a creative itch. I feel I don't.
I get that. Yeah.
Unless you don't get that in the DevOps side of things, do you? It's very
yeah. I mean, I get it. Very rarely do you really have to do like in the creative side where a lot of times there are things to figure out, but like in general, web development's a lot more on the creative side. So build some projects, man, and show them to your teammates on your team. I would imagine, Joseph, that you have a dev team where you work for sure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you're right. And they can probably help you.
Yeah, they can help you get placed. I think it's good.
Okay, move on to the next question. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, Joseph.
Thanks,
appreciate it. Chad wants to know, is a portfolio needed, or can we just link employers our GitHub?
So a lot of times HR is going to look at that. They're not going to look at your GitHub. They're not going to clone it. They're not going to get it running. The best thing that you can do is build a portfolio that also has links to your GitHub. Inside of your GitHub projects, there's a thing called the README. That should also have links to a production version that someone can look at. So if you're building websites, you link over to something deployed on Netlify. Now, if you're doing webs or mobile, then that's a little bit problematic. But in your portfolio, if you're doing website development, your portfolio should also have links to the project where they can easily run it without having to do anything. Look at the published version on Netlify or Heroku. That's how we do it here at Foundry. But you want to make sure that if it's an HR person or a recruiter, they don't know how to look at GitHubs. They don't understand it. They don't, so they may bypass you just on that. So like you definitely need a portfolio that shows off your skill sets from the design side in a really great way. It should be professionally designed, professionally laid out, and then easily discernible. Here's my project. Here's a link to go look at it running. And then you also can link to the GitHub as well, because some hiring managers could be a dev guy. I guarantee he's going to look at the published version first, and then he might hit over to the GitHub. But most people aren't going to go look at the GitHub, get it cloned, get it working. And they're just not going to do it.
Here's the thing about your question. Is a portfolio needed? No, because somebody's going to tell you, I got a job without a portfolio.
Yep.
And then he's going to say, I just had GitHub. And then somebody's going to say, I didn't even have a GitHub. I applied and I told them I could code and I got a job. So yes, there are outlying circumstances and cases, but we have this thing where we talk about maximizing your opportunities, right? So to maximize your opportunities, it is way better to have a portfolio. So let's say two candidates come up together and you're equal on all other grounds. One of you has a portfolio of apps and one of you doesn't. The portfolio guy's going to win. It's just, we see it. We see it all the time. That's been our secret sauce at Foundry prior to publishing it and putting it out here on YouTube. We've been doing this for a long time. We saw that our candidates were doing better than other candidates because they had a portfolio.
I don't want to take credit for all of the portfolio movement, but I think we've had some contribution to that.
100%. Like, we were doing it way before it became popular.
When people are looking at what are Foundry grads doing, what's this bootcamp doing? And then my approach to hiring, building a portfolio it's kind of a novel concept for programmers. And I think we've contributed to that being it's kind of more, you should have one. I mean, if you're a designer, you have to have one. You need proof of work. And the best way to do that is to build a web app or some kind of app someone can put their hands and touch on. I think that's the best way to get a job these days.
Yep, definitely. Hey, and a follow-up to this, Joseph, too. So thanks for the answer. Everyone thinks I'm crazy because cloud is what everyone wants to get into. I feel like understanding system engineering architecture could make me a decent dev. Yes, here's the thing
100%,
with
man.
I agree, but here's the thing with cloud, like people getting into cloud, that's becoming a lot easier to do, right? It's
Yeah,
in the tools that are being made are becoming way easier to do, and that part of it is becoming easy. The development side of it, while the similar tools and similar things, is always going to require more work. There's eventually going
yeah,
to be a solution that's going to be more like turnkey, and it's going to be like we talk about like machine learning and those kind of things. They're always
yeah,
getting easier to do, and there's going to be a button that just says like deploy to cloud, and it's just going to deploy and work because
yeah.
it's a series of there's no creative
Right.
decision, right? So yeah, but I would say that it's one of those things where we talk about front end and back end devs, same kind of thing. Like they
Hmm.
just want a full stack developer more than
Yeah,
anything. So if you can also be somebody who can deploy it to a cloud and manage that side of it and create the app, you're gonna have a leg
that's
up on some
golden,
people
man.
for sure. It
I,
is
I think
golden.
I think you're spot on. Go learn to code, man, and put those two together. You're going to be highly sought after for sure.
Yep, yep, definitely. We had some more questions here. Let's see. Osama says, I got beginner slash intermediate React skills. What React project idea would you suggest me to build?
Okay. What we're building right now in our course, we're going to build multiple things in our course. So depends on you're saying beginner to intermediate. So we're building a front end only one just to teach templating, and then we add a database to that. So the first one that we're going to do in our React course is build an address book. So an address book has a database. It has a couple of views. We're using React Router, so we're not necessarily teaching the SPA route. We're going more enterprise, saying like most enterprise apps have multiple pages, so we're using React Route. We're also going to use JWTs for the backend, for the service backend. We're building our service backend in Web API. You can do that in Node if you want. So an address book is kind of cool. Gives you a very simple project that you can like really stick your hands into. It's also simple to demo, which is kind of cool too. And then on top of that, then we're going to build a blog and probably something called Ticket Pro, but you could look at Bug Tracker as well. Those are more multi-page apps, a lot of database, multiple views, um, dashboarding, those kind of things that you can really build out. So that's what I would be doing. If you're in the intermediate level, those are the kind of apps you should be looking at because that's the kind of apps they're going to pay you to build. So I hope that helps. But you can start simple, depending on where you're at between beginner and intermediate. Make the address book one table, first name, last name, address, city, state, zip. Picture, upload. You know, it should be pretty easy to build.
So let's see here. Mac says, hey, I hold a master's and have decided to change my career into programming, specifically C sharp. Any advice on what I need to do to break in?
Um, so we're going to be biased here a little bit. I think if you're trying to career switch, probably already working, our self-paced course is going to give you projects you need to build. But let's say you don't want to take our self-paced course. Okay, let's just say that for a moment. We think you should, but like in general, you need to build a portfolio, and then you need to build. And I'm assuming like C sharp. Let's talk about full stack web development because we think that's the most sought after job right now today. And so you need to build several websites with a design pattern. Right now, we're using ASP.NET and MVC. You could also build those with Web API. Either way, I think MVC is probably, if you're just starting out, easier to undertake at this point, but still a lot of people use it. So it's really what the mainstream development's doing. So I think you need to build multiple projects in ASP.NET and C Sharp, whether that be Web API or MVC, either way. Make sure it has a database. Make sure you can log into it. Anything short of that, it's going to be harder to break into because typically C Sharp people are working at the enterprise and they're working on larger projects. So I think that, but you also got to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript as well, just to build a website in general, regardless of which stack you want to do. Now, if you're looking at mobile, then it's very exciting right now in .NET 6 where you can break into mobile with .NET 6, which would be kind of cool. If you're looking at desktop, pretty much C Sharp's the only way to build Windows desktop right now, I think. I mean, there's other ways to do it, but C# is best of breed in that regard because it's Windows. It's built by Microsoft. So, but yeah, build a portfolio, put some projects on it, show some people what you can do, and start interviewing. Hope that helps, Mac. I'm going to say Mac.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm not quite sure what it's a screen name of some kind. Mikey says, recently finished the MVC address book project, the self-paced course. Awesome. Would you recommend doing another similar type project to reinforce concepts, or will the blog project reinforce things?
The blog will reinforce things. That's our intent, to show you kind of how MVC works. The one thing you can add in the MVC address book is add an edit view. That's not included in the starter project. So if you wanted to tackle that first to see if you could invent the edit view for you, I think that's great. The one problem in your edit view you'll have to solve is when you edit an address and you don't upload an image, what happens? Does it clear it out in the database or does it not? So those are a couple of problems you got to solve in edit. We're going to come back with an address book part 2 that solves these things. But hey, just see if you can do that. If not, move over to the blog and you'll get reinforced all of those concepts, and then come back to the address book later and you're like, oh, I know how to do edit now. I know how to do those kind of things. So, but I definitely think the blog will reinforce all kinds of things for you, help you out. Hope that helps, Mike.
Okay. Oh, here's a good one. Ricky wants to know, how do you deal with demoing your project if you're being interviewed over Zoom, or Teams, or whatever we're using these days?
That's the best way, man. I mean, like that's the beauty of like interviewing remote is like you can just hit the share button.
Yeah, you can force the share almost.
Yeah, practice it. But like what we do say about demos is this: your demo startup time has to be next to instant.
Yeah, it's got to be running already.
Yeah, it's already running. You already know how to share your stuff. The worst thing you can do in an interview is show someone you don't know how to use Zoom or Teams. Yeah. You know, like, hey, where is the share button? And you're like looking around like someone's grandfather, like, hey,
even if it is your technical first time using it, make sure it's not your first time using it.
No, there's free Zoom accounts, free team accounts. I would practice with, wife, neighbor, friend, whatever you can find. And then practice demoing your projects over Zoom. And so you can see how to do it and how to make it work. But you should definitely share your screen. It makes it very, very easy to do. So super easy.
Yeah, it's built in. You can't go wrong. Let's see. Vision here wants to know, is a job going to be no more for front-end developers?
I don't know what he means. Is our front ends going away?
I'm guessing because it's easier to do, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, this is similar to the other question I saw with web builders out there.
I think that's probably what it is. Yeah.
So how long has Squarespace been around? Why don't we Google that, Kevin? Throw up a browser and see when Squarespace was founded.
Let me look. I'll go to I'll do their Wikipedia article because
Yeah.
Let me see. 2004, maybe.
2004. Okay, there was a bunch of CMSs before that.
Oh yeah, they're definitely not the first in the game.
So like 2004, and what year is it now? 2021, getting ready to go to 2022.
Yep.
It's been almost 18 years, and they haven't and we're still hiring front end developers.
Yeah.
Why? Because these web builders don't solve all the problems. Even for a lot of modern websites, they don't solve all the problems. We'll get into that in 1 second. Ron does stuff. We'll definitely talk to you about that. We've got some definite opinions on that. But like back to this web builder thing. So like front end technologies, not only is it getting easier to do, but it's also simultaneously the demands what the people want is more complex. So Squarespace can't do everything, like our problem on Squarespace is, well, what if I made a complex form and I wanted to integrate with something on the back end?
Yeah.
And I want more than it just sending it to an email. It's a problem, like we figured it out, but like in general, it's a problem, and then multiply that times 1,000. Do you think Nike.com is going to go to Squarespace to implement their e-commerce engine? No, get the whole thing is like, it's super complex. You got ordering systems, you got logistics, you got e-commerce, you got all these things. When you really go into something other than just standard brochureware website, which is essentially what CoderFoundry.com is.
Right.
That's an appropriate target for Squarespace. Full disclosure, we make it in Squarespace. Big deal. Someone got mad at me one time, like, why don't you roll it yourself? I did with Squarespace. So, yeah.
And just to be fair, we have
what do you think? I just like, hey, Coder Foundry, make me a Coder Foundry website on, and it's just instantaneous,
Right.
It's like,
and we have had custom sites in the past, but then we need a developer to maintain it, and we're like, why? When somebody like me, who's in marketing or something, can maintain it through something like Squarespace, it just works.
Or someone like me who can code but wants to do it faster. I mean,
exactly. So, that's true too. Yeah.
But it's like I'm making the case that front ends will be destroyed, but I don't think so in any way, shape, or form. The moment you need something like React or Blazor or any kind of JavaScript, you've moved out of every web builder on the face of planet Earth. Wix, Squarespace, I don't care which one you're using. The moment the business comes to you and says, do this interactive thing,
now
you got to do it off Squarespace.
Yeah.
Because it only does one thing, which is content management. Content management does not equal, high-end front-end site.
No, not at all.
So, and there's no builders for that. I mean,
you can't hook it up to a database.
No, not really. Not really. I mean, you can.
You can jimmy some stuff in there to make it seem like it's gonna, but it's all like
you can hook up some Zapier and try to make it work, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's usually very, 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 very limited. So, but I hope that helps. What I want you to do is, do not look at those things in fear. Look at them as opportunities. Simultaneously, things are getting easier to use and more complex to do at the same time. There are two tracks that are going up. As things get easier to do, we build Squarespace, we build these things. Well, then once people can do that, it's no longer about just getting the website up anymore. Now it's like, hey, build me an app that does A, B, and C. That means it's getting more complex. That means there's tons of opportunities for guys like you that want to learn how to code, and ladies that want to learn how to code that can learn JavaScript and React and C# and ASP.NET and all these things to build. So don't believe the hype when people say that we're going to be replaced by robots next week.
It's not going to happen in our lifetimes. So Ron's super chat.
Okay.
You think messaging or messing with Unity, at the same time as the course is too much? Should we wait until after the course to dive into something like that?
All right, I'm going to... You know what I feel on this one, Kevin. So, but in general, Ron, here's what I think. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, what is your goal? If your goal is to get a web dev job, then you don't need to install Unity at all. There's no reason to do that. If you want to get a game dev job, you need to be looking at Unity. So what I would do is, let's say that you want to get a job, period, in coding. You would love for it to be game, but it's hard to break into games. But you would take a web dev job. Go to the course, uninstall Unity. You don't need it at this point. Build all the stuff in the self-paced course, get a job, start making money, and then do Unity on the weekends. That's what I would do. It's something that you can mess around with on the weekend. But if you mess around with it now while you're also messing around with web dev, what's going to happen is you're just not going to get to where you want to be, But if you're just doing this for fun and it's like, you find fun doing it and your career's already kind of made and you just want to tinker around with stuff, I mean, that's fine too. Sure. Then do it all. But we think the mistake that new learners make, people that are trying to break in the industry, aren't focused on a single career stack, which in my opinion is right now the best one's web dev. Learn web dev until you get a job. Once you get a job, then you can learn something else. Otherwise, I think you just split your opportunities and you split your time and you never get to the top of one. You just kind of stay down here at the bottom of both. So.
And it goes to, and I think that's partially the kind of the industry's fault that there's almost too many tracks, and we see that because you guys come here, and every single time we come on here and go live, somebody says like, "What should I learn?" I probably have 3 things like queued up now that are just like, which of these things should I learn? And it's like, it's just there's so much like fragmentation in that respect. It's difficult to figure out, and some people try and learn it all and then just never learn anything.
And I would
you
say
don't want to avoid
finally,
doing that.
Ron, at Coder Foundry, our goal and our job and what we do is we're trying to get people jobs in web development. So education is like, yeah, we're an education company, but we really want you to get a job. That's kind of way we structure the curriculum. That's all we're doing. And so when you ask me what should I do, I'm like, get a web dev job. That's what I want you to do. And so like I want you to stay in the course until that happens and until you learn enough to where you can interview and get a job. So that I think that's super important for us, and that's how we're kind of biased. We're not the purely educational Udemy play where you can just learn a lot of things, and like and you're delving into a lot of things, and the career outcome isn't necessarily the number one goal. It's about learning stuff, which is definitely reasonable. A lot of people do it,
Yep.
but we're just different. We're
Yep.
more career focused. Like
Yeah.
go go go
Learning's kind of
go.
the byproduct of
Yeah, exactly. Let's
like
get a job,
you
man.
need
Let's
to do
get
the
paid.
learning to get the job. So
Yeah. All right. I
yeah.
hope that helps, Ron. Thanks for the super chat.
Okay. Let's see. Alberto says, will you also include an advanced web API project in the self-paced course, but only web API? About how to build enterprise-ready web API projects from development with deployment Azure.
Yeah, we're going to build web API projects. We're also going to put the front ends on those with Blazor and React. So that's our next. We've got a couple things that are in queue right now, and then once those are done, we also have some people working on the web API parts. But that's definitely what we're going to do. Deployment. We'll look in deployment. We may deploy those to Azure. We may deploy AWS. I haven't decided yet. Here's our approach to deployment is the reason we use Heroku is because there's a lot of free platforms for people to show that thing. The moment we deploy to Azure, the bills start rolling in because of databases
Right.
and things like that. And so
Yeah.
they don't have a great free option, especially when you use more complex things. It's going to cost you money to host.
It's easy to make
So
issues there too, where you get a bill in you get an email. It's like, you owe us $400. Like, what did I do?
So we may show you how to do it in Heroku the free way using CI/CD straight from Git, and then we may also show AWS and Azure down the road because we know that's an important skill to learn. We want to make sure we have the free option so that if you're trying to break in, you're just trying to show people stuff. Heroku is the way to go. If you're trying to learn how to actually do it and stick it in Azure, then that's appropriate too. It's a little bit different.
Yep.
But mostly the same. It's not hard. All right, but we're definitely building enterprise projects.
Yep. And speaking of projects, Troy has a question. What kind of projects should you include and not include in your portfolio based on complexity? How many is too many?
So I don't think too many is ever too many, but I would highlight the ones that I want to show and the ones I want to talk about.
I agree. I think it's okay to have a lot on there as long as you kind of like your design of your portfolio should push somebody to the project that you want them to see first.
Yeah. Right. So, and then if you've got let's say you've got 8 enterprise projects, and realistically 5 of those you don't want to talk about anymore, or they need some rework. You did them 5 years ago, you did them 3 years ago, but these top 3 ones, that's the ones you want to talk about. Then I would categorize them as such, something like that is what I would do. And then there's nothing wrong with taking things off your portfolio and rotating stuff in and out.
I was going to say too, I'd maybe consider taking them off. 3 is okay.
Yeah. 3's good. 4's good. 8 isn't too many unless you're super, super proud of them and you can talk about all 8. If you can't talk about it and you forgot how it worked, which is reasonable. I mean, I'd have to go review the code. Then you're using it to get jobs is basically what the portfolio is for.
So another part of his question, what's your criteria for these apps? And we talk about this a lot. So tic-tac-toe is not good enough, right?
Yeah. So database, obviously, security, obviously, if you're doing web-based, those are the 2 things that we should have in there. So I'm thinking full stack projects. If you're just doing front end, then we need to be really good at the design aspect of it. They should look fantastic. But typically, man, most front end projects have some kind of service layer in the back end that hits a database. So even if you're a front end developer, you should be having a web API back end or some kind of service layer in Node or something like that at the very minimum anyway. So full stack's kind of the way to roll, I think. And I know Troy's on the full stack track anyway, so he knows what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So solve a business problem, hit a database, implement security. Bug tracker is the perfect one for that, that shows you what to do, but it could be other types of projects. Troy's worked a while, so you probably have some ideas of things that you think you could do. So hope that helps.
Okay, Kev wants to know, will the invoice project previously mentioned make it on the self-paced course? And then a secondary question, where would you host a membership web app with over 10K users?
If you got 10,000 using something, you're on Azure, AWS, period.
Yeah, you need to be paying for it at that point.
Yeah. So like we may build an invoice project. I think we're going to also probably the next new project will be Movie Pro will come out in a couple of weeks. Soon after that, we'll get Bug Tracker out, and then after that, we're going to build something called Ticket Pro. So I think those are the things that we'll build out first, and then we may add an invoice project next year with .NET 6, but we'll see. But I think Ticket Pro is kind of like really cool because it's more of a hybrid, and so it'll hit mobile, hit web. It does both things really well.
The mobile
aspect. So we're looking at
cool.
things that that can really move the needle in an interview. So there's nothing better than someone downloading your app on their phone, and then you submit a ticket and it shows up on their phone. That's like it's freaking magic. Yeah.
It's an impressive demo, isn't it?
Yeah. And in regards of how technical the person is on it, like, wow, okay, that's kind of cool. We still get excited when we save a record and it shows up. I mean, I know that's simple, but like we still like, oh, that works. That's cool. Right. That's what you want. You've met the expectation or you've even exceeded it because like most people don't have it. Demos like that. That's why we're picking that over invoice, and we'll push invoice down a little bit because this one just interviews so much better.
Okay, cool. Look who's back. We haven't seen Maverick for a while.
Welcome Maverick. What's up, man?
I see you in the chat there. So thank you for joining us. What do you think of Next.js? I don't know if you've used Next.js yet.
So like Next.js has routing built in. I think that's part of it. There's a lot of things in it that's not in the vanilla React. And so like I think people are going to Next.js because it has more stuff built into it. That's my opinion. I don't really know. You could ask someone that'll tell you, but like I know for one that routing's built in Next.js unless I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. And then with React, you have to get React route and kind of set it up, and it's a little bit, that's the reason they call it Next.
They have a pretty decent list. I'm looking at that
one, and then there's like, okay, that's a good idea. Let's get this a little bit more full featured, and I think that's why they call it Next.
Looking at that website now for companies that are using it, and it's kind of funny because there's a lot of big names on here: Trulia, Netflix, GitHub, Starbucks, Ticketmaster, Twitch, Hulu, Coinbase, like Uber, big companies. Kind of crazy. Yep.
That's what I think. I mean, that's my opinion. I think it's just taking React and going a little bit further.
Yep.
Kind of making all more built in, more under the umbrella.
Yeah, so maybe that's something we'll look at in the future too after we've done the React thing, maybe. How long does an average web developer stay in a single job in your personal experience?
So in the US, what we commonly see is 3 to 5 years. It doesn't mean that you can't hook onto a company and say they're 20 either. It just depends on what they're doing.
Yeah, we've seen everything, haven't we? From a student perspective, like we've seen a lot. We've seen 6 months all the way.
Yes, but if you see 6 months, like 10 6-month stints,
that's a problem.
Over 5 years, then there's probably a problem there with the developer a little bit. I read an article this morning about job hoppers should be worshipped because they learn something new every time. And there's a difference between a job hopper and someone who's moving every 3 months because they can't deliver either. Yeah. So like it's a fine balance. But if you got 2 to 3 years in each location, no one's going to look bad on you on that. And that's probably what web developers typically move more than your average other developer, other job category too. So, but so there's a balance there. Every 3 months or 6 months, that's a problem. Every 2 to 5 years, that's not a problem. So.
Yeah, I would also say like the first gig too, I think is okay to be a little bit shorter. If your first gig is 6 months to a year.
Oh, that's fine.
And I think that's not a red flag at all. Yeah. It's when you have a lot of them back to back that is a red flag. If you can show progress, like, oh yeah, I took this first gig making X amount of money, but I doubled my salary moving to my next gig. Clearly, that's like there's a reason that you did that. That's a different thing. That's just not job hopping just because
Yeah.
you didn't get along there or something. Let's see. Learn English says, I'm currently studying an electrician course at college, but I want to learn coding and earn fast money. Okay. What language do you think I should start with, please? I want to make like 80K pounds. I'm guessing maybe you're in
What's
the
that?
UK then? I know the salaries in the UK aren't as much.
Is it higher?
So that's yeah. So that's about 100K, something like 110, something like
Yeah,
that.
somewhere that's like
I
1.3.
don't know what their
or
current
something
exchange
like
range is, but somewhere around
that.
there. But it's over 100. But I would
Yeah.
say
Here's the thing that kind of like a little bit learn English. Like, why are you studying electrician in college? I don't understand. Like, it seems like you would study coding in college. And also, fast money is another kind of red flag, and maybe that's just like I don't
yep,
know if it's fast money.
it's
I
not
think
fast
this is
money.
yeah, we're looking at careers. So I don't think coding is something you can just whip out and do on the side and make some fast money. I don't
Yeah.
think it works that
Yeah.
way.
Anybody that tells you that coding
Now,
is a get rich quick scheme, walk the other
it's
way
not,
because it's
man.
not.
No, it's a career path. Now, there are guys that code for a living that has 20 years experience that can whip out an app over the weekend and make fast money. But it's not fast money. That is like years and
Yeah.
years of experience where they can whip something together
Yep.
and show it. Even when you look at um, these hot.com companies or entrepreneurs out there that whip out an app and they make $1 billion. Um, that's usually a path of like starts and stops and misfits
Yeah. This
and
is like their 18th
yeah,
gig.
yeah, or something
Yeah.
like that. Or and every now and then some guy, Mark Zuckerberg makes Facebook and hits it, but like that's not how it usually works for everybody. You have to be. There's a lot of that with Mark Zuckerberg, right place, right time, and being
Yeah, it's a
like,
1 in a million shot. It's like winning the
yeah,
lottery.
and also he might have been kind of scammy and then like he stole the guy's idea. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you believe the movie, but like either way, right place, right time, and then just happened to hit social media when it was coming up. So my goal is for you would be I want a career that can make me 120K per year US dollars or 80K pounds. That's doable, but is it doable as an electrician? It is here in the U.S. I would imagine it's the same holds true in the U.K. And that's so if you're studying electrician in college, why wouldn't you pursue that as a career? I don't understand. I'm trying to understand.
I think the
You
developer
know,
market in the UK, from what I've read, does pay less than the US.
does it now?
It
Even in
does.
London and things like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. From
Okay.
from everything that I've read, it's definitely not as it's not as high as it is
Lucrative.
here. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if electrician is the same too, but here if you have an electrician company here, you can make good money like easily.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I've paid an
Yeah.
electrician. I know they're not cheap.
So, and then what language should I start with? I think C sharp, especially if you're in the UK. We're assuming since you put pounds in there, you're
Yeah,
in
we
the
know
UK.
.NET is popular there for sure.
.NET's going to be very, very, very popular. If you're somewhere else, look at what the market is looking at and what stacks they're doing. I still think web development, no matter where you're at, is probably really good. I guess I could be wrong in Korea or South Korea where electronics could dominate and you're writing embedded systems. I'm not sure about that. But if you're looking at the UK and the US, definitely web development is where to go right now. So I hope that helps, man. I hope it helps you out. I would stay focused on one thing and make a career out of that, and then switch. So
Okay. I'm hoping I pronounced this correctly. Is it Adore? I'm hoping it is. And if it's not, I apologize. I butcher names sometimes. But the question is, taking self-paced course, do you guys have mentors also?
currently not now for the self-paced.
Not in the
We're
self-paced. We do
maxed
have
out
in the
on our
full.
bootcamp course. So like our bootcamp course is where we have all the teachers and things like that tasked with getting students and mentors. It's
Yep.
more expensive,
It's very
but
expensive.
it's the it's really good option if you need a mentor.
to have a good mentor costs a lot of money. You can
Yeah,
get a mentor, but then it's like you'll see some courses they'll advertise that they have mentors, but it's just like it's a peer or something, and then it's like it's not a good experience.
we may bring mentors to the self-paced course, but that's down the line for us. We're still like in the content phase where we need to build lots and lots of content. So we may have mentors eventually, but nothing this year for sure.
Yep.
And it would be an extra charge because those people have to get paid whether we hire a third party or bring them in house.
Yep. And we want it to be good experience. We're not going to just throw
Yep, we
anybody
want
at
it
it.
to work if you pay
It's,
for it.
yep. Let me see.
Good luck on the self-paced course.
Mahamud says, is there a chance to offer only C#.NET course using Node.js and wish to move to .NET for backend API?
That's what we have.
Yep, we have that. You can go
Just
right
skip the stuff that you don't want to like do. I mean, like, like if you already know HTML just in JavaScript, just skip it. Our whole course is built around building portfolio, but you can go right to intro to C# and just start building with some of the stuff. Now, if you don't know JavaScript, I think it's important to know it. So, but you can take it in whatever order you want. So, but yeah, and then our Web API course will come out later in this year, which is our backend API, which is it'd be more like what you're doing with Node. But that course is under development. Before the end of the year, that'll be out. Hope that helps.
There we go. Sean has a good question. I like this question, Sean. If I'm asked to choose between iOS or Android mobile dev, which would you recommend for future career opportunities? I plan to keep learning full stack with C# on my own.
So
time.
I think I've asked this a lot. People get asked this a lot. I think there's only one way to build mobile apps right now in the enterprise. Okay, and it's not about a stack. It's called cross-platform mobile development. There's basically 3 companies out there. Google has one, React Native, and then there's what's coming out now in .NET 6, which is .NET MAUI. So those are the 3 ways I think people are going to be building mobile. Now, if you want to go the iOS route and you just want to use the Apple stuff, then you can learn Swift and use their tooling, but you only can build an Apple iOS and you got to buy into the whole platform. I think that's a mistake on Apple's part. And you can see what Android is, which is built by Google. They built a cross-platform native one, and they own 50% of the market, maybe higher, depending on who you count. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I think it's higher. I think it is higher.
Yeah. So it's a mistake on Apple's part, but Apple doesn't want to be the platform where everyone builds everything for everybody. They just want you to build it just for iOS, and they want to offer the best experience for iOS development. That's all they want to do. That's how they roll as a company. And that's fine. And you can make a living doing that. But building cross-platform is where it's going to be for these companies, because a company just don't want to build just an iOS app. They need them both to work on both. And so why write it twice when you can write it once? And that's what cross-platform with Flutter and Dart on the Google side, and then React Native, the JavaScript way to do it on that side, and then now .NET MAUI coming down the pipe, which will be out in production sometime in November. Currently, right now, it's Xamarin if you want a production app. But if you're learning, I would learn .NET MAUI because that's where it's going, and it's so close. Now's the time to just get the previews and see kind of what they're doing. So.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Go a little bit out of order because we're almost up on time here. So Emmanuel has another question. It says, what are your thoughts on projects such as niche baseball or football card collecting, such card eShop sites for a portfolio project?
I've seen it done. I think it's fun. I mean,
I think that's a good app, actually.
Yeah, it's a good app. I mean, I would extend it to other things like, and it may not be in your wheelhouse of things you would do, but things like Magic the Gathering and other ones. Now, what I've counseled people on that are into that is don't make it a toy app, make it a business app.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, let's say that it is Pokemon cards or it's Magic cards. Then make sure that it has a business feel to it. So those cards, you can showcase the art, but the art needs to be in a professional setting. And so I think that.
Yeah.
But baseball cards and football cards, that's kind of cool. I like it.
I think what's key here, he has the eShop kind of site. I think that makes it professional. Like that's, I think that's good.
And it's sorely needed. So if you look at Magic the Gathering websites, which I know some people that are into that, and I go see the sites where they buy them. I'm like, dude, someone needs to write an app for this. Like, this is terrible. It looks straight from the 80s. Like, so like when they have all this fantastic art, they don't really, these sell sites aren't really good at it. It's just it looks like Craigslist or something, like it's kind of bad. But I think that's a good portfolio project. Build a database of cards, allow you the searching for cards, looking for certain cards, the pricing, that kind of stuff. Check out, experience, all that would be great. Ordering and all that kind of stuff. I like it.
Exactly. So Chad wants to know, and we'll kind of wrap up here, I think. Is there anything more entry level than front end?
Yeah.
I know most are front end, but I desperately need a job ASAP.
So look for HTML developer, email developer. We've had students leave here and create marketing campaigns for email.
Yeah.
And their landing pages, HTML, and these things are being shoved into ads and things like that. So they're built all that, and all they really know is HTML and CSS.
Yeah, there definitely are some jobs out there. You might also see them called a content developer as well, that kind of things, because they often think of it as just being like content, like you're writing it, even though you're writing it probably with HTML, CSS, maybe a little JavaScript. Check out Coding Phase's channel too. He has a lot of stuff around this. Yeah, he has a lot of stuff around this, around like what is the kind of the bare minimum to get a job, and he'll talk you through that too. He has a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
Joe's big into Shopify and that stuff, but he also talks about like the easiest way to break in.
Yeah, so like email campaigns need HTML skills to create them. Landing pages need HTML skills when they're building these things out. Ad inserts where they go in ad and Twitter, Facebook, and whatever. That's done with HTML. You got to be able to like create those and craft those and get them posted. The design skills are on point there. So I think that's where I would look.
Yep.
Hope that helps, Chad. Good luck.
Okay, cool. Wrap it up here. We're just a little bit past the hour.
Time for lunch, time for tacos, man.
It is taco time.
Thanks for the tacos, Ron and Joseph and Steven.
Yes. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And we'll be back on Thursday.
And look for a YouTube video tomorrow on building cards and carousels with Bootstrap 5. So if you're not in this course already. So show that banner one more time, learn.coderfoundry.com. Check us out.
Right here. If you're already in the course, by the way, it is already there. You can go watch it.
Yeah. And if you're wanting to come to the bootcamp portion, we're interviewing now, so you need to get in now. The course starts September 27th. So if you're looking for that, go there to learn.coderfoundry and get all the information you want.
20 days. You still have probably we usually close off about a week or so before. So you probably have about 10 days or so, something like that.
Yeah.
To apply stuff.
But we're closing in on our 25. So like you need to apply right now and get in the process. All right, cool. Well, we'll see you Thursday. Good luck and keep coding. See you later.
See you guys later.